At this time, I'd like to welcome seating area 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3 service to Shanghai, departing at 95.
In early May of 2010, 28 Thunderbirds embark on a 5-country, 2-week tour to better understand the dynamic, high-tech business environment of Asia. First stop, Shanghai, where students get exclusive access to the World Expo. Described as being in New York City on the 4th of July with the Olympics, the Expo covers some 521 square kilometers of exhibit space, including over 190 country pavilions.
Intercultural communications that we take at the school, we learn about systemic communication and linear communication. At most pavilions, very systemic. You would experience it. When you get to the American pavilion, it was very linear. You go in, you watch a video, you sit down. Then you go to the next room, watch another video. It was step by step. Most other places I went to were not like that, so that was a pretty good cultural experience to have.
The following day, students gained valuable advice from country insiders on how business is conducted in China.
Doing business in China is a complex subject. You have to align your interests, and you have to make sure that your interests are aligned to the extent they can be with the people you're dealing with in China. China, that's a little more complex than elsewhere in the Western United States because the interests are much more varied and much broader. You have to take in the interests of the state because the state is involved in virtually every sector in China. I think due diligence, again, you have to do anywhere in the world, but in China, because of the complex nature of the place, because it is opaque, because China has been in the modern business world for really only the last 30 years, that the onus is much greater on due diligence here than perhaps it is elsewhere. I think you have to be very sensitive to culture. I think Americans and Westerners in general have a very different culture, very different value sets than China has. And I think you have to know what that means for negotiating a deal, but more importantly for managing an organization in China, because you're managing Chinese people. And these people come to this organization with a very different set of values than perhaps you're accustomed to.
Probably the two areas for technology. Number one, localization. Companies need to localize, and they need to localize their product. You need to make sure that their solution really fits the needs of the local user. You need to localize your staff. You need to have people on the ground here who know the local conditions, know the local regulators, just know how to get stuff done here. The danger, and this is related to the second point, is intellectual property. Companies are resistant to really localizing their stuff here because they don't want to lose their technology.
Then, it's off to the first company visit, Suntech Manufacturing, one of the world's largest solar energy manufacturers. Here, students learn about China's advanced manufacturing sector and the 6-step process for making solar panels from silicon. This trip also provides insight on the Chinese renewable energy economy. The Summerim also allows students to draw contrasts as to where the tech industry is headed in various countries. So it's off to Vietnam, where students receive a briefing from the U.S. Commercial Service. Thunderbird alum James Eckel also speaks to students as well about the challenges of doing business in Vietnam.
The first 5 years, almost daily, you could see changes. There was so much progress and prosperity. It is becoming more open, and it's becoming a little bit more transparent. There still is a lot of government regulation. There's a lot of red tape to doing business in Vietnam. It is not easy to come in and open a company and to hire a workforce and to produce. There's many regulations and red tape you have to go through. But from what I understand, it is still better than what's happening in China. And I know a lot of companies have closed their China operations and have moved to Vietnam because we have a very stable workforce, we have a high education workforce, and they're very young, and it's now more economical than the Chinese working situation.
The following day, students visit the Saigon High-Tech Park. Technology incubators like the Saigon High-Tech Park are often found in this region and boast access to skilled labor, reliable supplies of energy, and other resources. The Saigon High-Tech Park is anchored by an investment from Intel. Later that evening, Thunderbird alums come out in strong force to welcome students to the region. Students take the opportunity to experience the Thunderbird global network and inquire about the challenges and opportunities faced by expats in the region and what it takes to be successful. Then, it's off to the third country, Malaysia, where students discover the incredible diversity that both pushes the economy together and spreads it apart. A great place to test the Asian market, Malaysia also boasts a strong managerial talent pool. In most countries, infrastructure is a barrier to growth, but in Malaysia, the biggest challenge is access to enough skilled workers. In Malaysia, students visit the headquarters of hard drive manufacturer Western Digital. Here, the importance of supply chain management relative to staying competitive in Asia is discussed. Collectively, Western Digital and its suppliers make up 6% of the Malaysian economy. Students also witness a successful high-tech company that benefits from an economy with a modern infrastructure, a solid base of English-speaking employees, and a diverse talent pool. Indeed, the country's diverse population of Chinese, Indians, and native Malays managed to work together to foster an emerging creative arts industry, as witnessed by the MSC, or Multimedia Super Corridor. Following Malaysia, the Summerim crew made a brief evening stop into Singapore for the Thunderbird First Tuesday event, where students had another opportunity to network with fellow alumni there before heading off to India. While India offers an immense pool of very talented individuals, unlike China, they managed to skip becoming a manufacturing-based economy and instead leapfrog into services, which is evident in the country's lack of a modern infrastructure system. In India, students learn about the evolution of high-tech that today supports many mature back-office operations around the world. In Bangalore, students receive an in-depth briefing from Lala Aluja, CEO of Target India. A strong base of talented, English-speaking, and process-oriented people has today allowed divisions like Target India to successfully grow from an experimentation phase to optimization to becoming the innovation hub that supports the IT, analytics, and strategic functions for all its business units. Following the visit to Target, students visit Mindtree Consulting, a company exemplary of the social responsibility culture that is growing in Asia's high-tech sector. Upon graduation from Thunderbird, students are given an opportunity to sign a global oath, and it's clear that Mindtree's social values are an example of this in action. For instance, Mindtree was recently ranked number 2 in Asia in the Asia Money Corporate Governance Poll. After Mindtree, students gain valuable insight into a company that has global mindset as part of their DNA, ThoughtWorks. At ThoughtWorks, students learn about the implications of talent from a company whose core values are that no one country's culture will dominate. Rohit Bansal, the director of Impact at ThoughtWorks, explains more.
Why I'm at ThoughtWorks. I'm here, this is my 12th year at ThoughtWorks, and I am here because the kind of talent that you have in ThoughtWorks is just amazing. In terms of like retention of the talent in general, the additional factors are that the kind of freedom which I get to do what I want to do, how I want to do it, and I can always go and talk about it to people, my colleagues, my peers, my seniors, and that kind of freedom is just, in my opinion, is not easily to be found elsewhere. And because of that reason, a lot of people stay back here because they know that this kind of freedom, this kind of choice which they can make, and this kind of learning which they would have from their environment is pretty big factor for people to stay back here.
In summary, the Asia Dynamic High-Tech Business Environment Summit provides students with insights on a variety of sectors including energy, services, information and telecommunications, and software. It also helps answer key questions like how to conduct business in the region, how the region will integrate, as well as the implications on transnational corporations. Trip organizer Dr. Mary Teagarden adds her thoughts.
Many authors, like Thomas Friedman in The World is Flat, writes about what's going on, and many MBA students all over the world study that book. Our students have the unique opportunity to be able to live that book, experience that, see what's going on in this region, with the objectives of 1, understanding a variety of industries, 2, understanding potential for integration in this region, 3, understanding if they work for multinationals and are making decisions about where to locate activities, to have a first-hand understanding of where you might locate. Our students don't read about things at Thunderbird, they experience them. The Thunderbird experience comes to life by students having the opportunity to observe firsthand, to speak with business leaders who are running businesses in this part of the world and operating in this part of the world, to meet with not only business leaders, but with the Thunderbird Alumni Network, which is more than 40,000 students strong, so they have the opportunity to integrate in that network here. Thunderbird Learning Experience is all about first-hand exposure to what's going on around the world.